Australia's bushfire season has felt nigh on apocalyptic. It started earlier than usual last year. Since June, more than 10 million hectares have been destroyed. At least 30 people have been killed. The country is still burning. So what of the new normal in Australia? Has a season of devastating fires changed the whole discussion around climate change?
This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison toppled his predecessor Malcolm Turnbull in 2018. Since then, Turnbull's been a vocal critic of what he terms self-destructive idiocy of climate denialism.
Temperatures have been cooler here. A little bit of rain has fallen across the state and Victoria, which has really taken the pressure off people. But it does feel like we're all in a state of limbo, particularly the residents who live here, because the intense heat and the wind is set to return here in the coming days. And there is the constant smoke and air pollution. It's been really bad across the state, particularly in the capital of Australia, Canberra, where they gave out free masks to people today to try and cope with the pollution, and in Melbourne as well.
Town of Wingelow, the fire service here has been unbelievably busy over the weekend trying to save this town. The fire that struck this place roared in from back there. The firefighters here put up an epic battle, one they describe in almost apocalyptic terms, as this fire roared through with a massive cloud of ash, the sky completely red. And the firefighters here have described battling on all fronts to try to save the town. It's a town of around 400 people. They thought they would lose the entire town. The fire came up here, it leapt over the road, and you can see the ground over there is completely scorched, going towards the railway line, and that's where the firefighters say they stopped it. They stopped it from going further over and getting more homes. People have come back to this town now. The weather's cooler. There are fires some distance away. It's still a bit smoky, but they've been able to come back, look at their homes, and they describe a feeling almost of elation that nobody was hurt, nobody was killed, and that they didn't lose more homes. This is one of so many communities in Australia now that are reeling from these fires and assessing the damage that they've suffered, worrying of course too that the hot season has only just started and they may get more fiery weather to come.
Show what actually is the cause of all these big fires, not climate change, just bad management from way up above in politicians, therefore the Greens.
The reality is we've had fire down the landscape here that has had burns go right through it, and it hasn't slowed it up at all. And so the emotive argument is not supported that fuel reduction burning on a large scale will fix all our problems. It should be treated as one part of an integrated approach. What's been really successful for us in these firefights is how we're actually working in with communities before the fires go through. Part of that will be fuel reduction burning, but we can put ploughs through. We can prepare communities before the fire goes through, which is actually giving us a lot more success than broad-scale burning. So yes, burning is important, but some of the hysteria that this will be the problem that solves, or the solution to all our problems, is really just quite an emotional load of rubbish, to be honest.
Here we have a baby mountain brush-tail possum. So he's had to be evacuated as well with us. He'll be released into the wild. These guys are in care for a very long time. We'll have him for close to a year. Baby kangaroos and wombats are in care for about 2 years, so it's a long time commitment. It's going to take decades and decades for the bush to regenerate properly. You know, the impacts of fire, beyond just what we see with the green tree leaves and all that sort of stuff. There's impacts to the soil, there's impacts to the insects and all that sort of stuff. You just, year after year, see less and less frogs. You see less and less, you know, of those little species that can't handle big.
And rescuing animals, some of those take years to rehabilitate because of the state of their burns, and so that takes a very long time to kind of get them back on their feet. The first port of call obviously is just fighting this fire, and because that is a volunteer organisation, they'll be focusing on that, but there are a wide range of causes as this thing stretches out for months and years that will still need ongoing support, and that's where the dollars are going.
Day after day, fire crews brave the front lines in a crisis that's still escalating. Many of the blazes are out of control and beyond anyone's experience.
It's The worst I've seen in 21 years, this is honestly the worst I've seen, the most I've actually been out. Makes it very hard, especially when you've got family and commitments and all the rest of it.
In a town in Victoria, a ghostly scene. Cars burnt and grey with ash. Fires are a natural feature of Australia, but record heat has made them more severe than usual, something that had been predicted. And this seems to be part of a pattern. A new study of wildfires around the world, from the Amazon rainforest to California, says human activity is raising temperatures and adding to the threat, including in Europe and many other regions. This was Spain last year.
Well, more than 100 fires are still burning across Australia. This is what some of them look like from up above. This is the state of New South Wales, and you can see the volume of smoke. Now, we've talked many times about how that smoke is affecting life in cities like Sydney and Canberra, but it's affecting Melbourne too as well. Have a look at some of these pictures. This is the city blanketed in smoke. The air quality has been described as hazardous. We know lots of people have been choosing to wear face masks, as you can see in this footage. The smoke's also disrupted the qualifying stages of the Melbourne Open, the Australian Open tennis tournament. One player collapsed and complained of breathing difficulties, and as you can see, she had to be helped off court. The smoke also isn't just affecting Australia. We know it's reached South America last week, and this graphic from NASA, using NASA data, shows that in fact the smoke is completing a full circuit of the globe.